Just a moment, kindly. Yes, yeah. So when you guys when behind the scenes, we actually having a conversation here about the state of affairs. Of course, I'll continue with that. Just talking about what is happening in this particular country. And before we continue with this, I just want us to take a look at latest polls when it comes to this particular movement that was started by the youngest population in the nation as far as change is concerned. If we could just have that on the screen and take a look at what people are saying as far as protests are concerned and who is supporting this particular protest. And of course, Kenyans supporting the movement, that is 81%. That is across board, young people, old people, and all that. People supporting austerity measures, that is 25%, unemployment 21%, high cost of living 18%, corruption 14%, and Ruto must go is 12%. Where this is polls that were conducted by TIFA. So 81% of the nation says this movement is a good thing. Let me start with you, Bonai.
Yes.
It seems to be started well, just like you put it, but these are the latest polls. So to some extent, the push for change seems to be getting support from from the nation's majority. Despite the head of state coming and saying, you see, a section of people will not paralyze the nation, seems to be getting much support from a very large population.
It is getting support from a very large population by fact and virtue of us speaking the truth. Mm-hmm. And when you come out in numbers and basically all you ask for is accountability, all you ask for is provision of services for us to continue our lives. For you see, when he comes out, His Excellency comes out and tells us he wants to employ 46,000 DSS teachers, and the number of graduates that come out of universities, in Kenyatta University only, is in tunes of, we had a graduation recently, we had 3,000 students, but graduated from the university. So that is just one university. So when you speak about 46,000, it means the opportunities that you're providing for us are scarce. So it means now it goes back to that line, to the narrative of who do I know in government for me to actually get to access particular services within the government, for me to meet my daily subsistence. Because we as a country, mm-hmm. we are being retarded. It's like the governance is going slow by fact and virtue of policies that do not favor young people. Mm-hmm. So I would narrow it down to, if the president of this country means well, the first thing he would do is give opportunities to young people. And not opportunities of mijengo, mm-hmm. not opportunities of, there's this housing that I've seen. In fact, they have gone to extents of particular segments of people that are surrounding the president to call student leaders to State House. But now they are biased because they are affiliated to a particular community. Mm-hmm. You see, these are the things that are continuously irritating the young people and making the entire process very difficult. You see, and if we are to mean business, let it begin mm-hmm. by us meaning business, okay. not meaning things that do not actually have a straight line. Okay. Yes.
Let me come to you, Patrick.
Yes,
this is the thing, 81%, and that's a very, huge population. So I believe initially when you started, you actually said that you're supporting actually the movement itself. So I believe you're part of the 81%.
Of course.
How does a government that is getting this much opposition handle this issue? Because 81% is not a small number. It's not a small margin. That's a very big number. When we are talking about 81% of support, they might not be taking actively on the streets, yes. but they're actually supporting the movement that is happening in the country. Correct. And the call for reforms.
Right.
So how does the government look at these numbers and say, okay, it is time for us to call ourselves, for a meeting and have a reflection on exactly what we've been doing in this country. How does that go about?
Let me tell you, 81% is not 20%. Mm. We are talking about 81%, which is way above like any percentage you talk in this country. That actually called, it's like a vote of no confidence in matters Ruto and the government. Ruto, as we said, I'll remind my sister here, Vivian, that Ruto must go, we are saying it's like it's symbolic, is a metaphor that it's the old government to go. And I want to tell you this, even Mr. Ruto, the president of this country to do, will tell you that it is him himself, he knows that the governance of this country has been rotted since 1963. And I say one thing, that 81% we are supporting the overall change of this country, but we may not support the activities that are being undertaken to meet the objectives that we want to have. You understand what I mean? And I want to say this and to respond to a few things, because I did not get a chance to mention that, because I have told you, I have come here to bring to neutralize whatever, because as a soldier, that is my work, to neutralize the enemy within the enemy. So when we talk of professionalism, I am talking from the point of being a security expert, I'm talking from the point of governance, and I'm talking from a foreign policy, whatever. Let me tell you, when I am a soldier, I do not need a leader. I was a special force soldier. We used to work like 6 people, every person, and it is as in own duty to do. So when we talk of a leader, there is no need for a leader. When a leader is killed in a battlefield, the war still continues. Why? One, because there is formation and structures. What we need to be talking about right now is not about leaders, and I'm devising this to Gen Zs and millennials and people who are advocating for change in this country. We do not need leaders, but we need formations and structures to protect each other and to be able to meet the objective. Because even if the leader is killed today, we still get the objective. But when we appoint a leader, today people worship leaders, or political leaders in this country worship leaders, because what they are looking at is that leader. They are not looking on the structural and policies and the statutes that govern whatever areas they are in. So let us have formations, structures, not leaders. And I spoke that in an X the other day with the Gen Zs and millennials in a meeting. I told them what we need not leaders, but we need formation and structures. That is what will guide us and take us through the entire period. We do not need. Yes.
Just to add on what Patrick is saying.
Yes.
You see, the reason as to why we are getting support of 81% of the population of this country is by fact and virtue of our parents had an opportunity. Yes. But they did not use it.
Yes. I'm different.
In fact,
I think they did.
They would not come out.
I think they did. They might
1992 wouldn't have happened without them pushing.
What happened in 1992? What happened? Multipartism?
Yes.
That was a psychological game to purport that Kenya was in multipartism.
It doesn't matter.
It
There was
evolution of services is something that is continuous.
It didn't come automatically. It didn't
Opportunities
come on a
to
silver
go
platter.
We've never had what we are in this country today.
Moi was not. I mean, it's not the same, but
what you're saying is that this
country
is the people that have come before you have done totally nothing.
Let me ask.
24 years of governance with Moi, and still up to this particular point in time, you're happy with millions.
I don't agree with rubbishing the history, because even actually right from Mau Mau, let's just say even before independence, there was push for better governance by the people. And after Mau Mau, of course, we came into, independence of Kenya.
That was still stage managed. That we got
even,
so why should
listen,
we
even
have a good governance in this country?
Up to this
if
point.
you say that was stage managed,
In the 21st century, we are still pushing for good governance up until this time.
And this is
until when? Colonialism. It is the people that you put in power
today
that have
we are
brought the problem. It is your representation, the people that you elect
in this country.
That is you that is going to be voted in 2027.
My point in this, my last point in this is, I respect that they can have divergent opinions.
Yes.
It's okay for you to maybe say those ones didn't count.
Yes.
And maybe rubbish them. My own view is different. I think everything takes a process. So it builds. It like builds from something.
Correct.
You gain courage from learning about history, if Martin Luther King maybe was able to do this.
Correct.
Because of what he did, he may not have gotten you to where you want, but it gives you courage. It sets precedence. You know that there are people who came before me and were able to do 1, 2, 3. You don't just wake up from nowhere with no precedence, with nothing, and you're able to push. So the courage. Please, gentlemen, hold on. I'm giving my thoughts. The courage you get, to follow through, to organize, to mobilize people is because of what your predecessors have been able to do. They may not have done what you have done.
Correct.
They may not have achieved what you have achieved.
Correct.
But it builds your courage, it builds your strength, it builds your knowledge on how to do things better, and you're able to get better because of your predecessors. So let's not rubbish history. Let's not say it didn't matter what they did, Mauma was not important, it was stage managed. Even if it was stage managed, we would not be here had these events not happened.
Can I ask you, do we wait until predecessor dies, or do we have predecessors before the predecessor die? Because in your case today, you come from ODM. You're still waiting for Raila Odinga either to rest so that somebody else to take over. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying because one, I want to make sense to this.
Your sentiments are speaking for me, essentially.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
you
but
don't speak for me.
the fact is, let me tell you, Kanu, do you know Kanu belonged to Odinga family before now it's purported to be Moi? Do you know that the Kandu and others belonged to the Western Kenya people from the Bodavandi, who are the same families? In 1992, what these people did, all parties, NAC Kenya, NAC whatever, the people in Azimio today is one-person party.
NAC
But
Kenya
purporting,
Kanu belongs to the
NAC Kenya didn't exist in 1992.
No, I'm just saying, purporting that
say,
they all belong
things.
to different
1992,
diversities.
there was no
The
NAC
parties
Kenya.
in this country, the parties in this country belong to one individual. They are enterprises belonging to several individuals in this country. We must
When
say
you vie
no
in
party.
2027, what vehicle are you using?
Let me tell you, right now, I'm not even advocating for any political parties. One reason I have realized political parties have been enslaving people in this country. Even if we design, let everybody get to the parliament at independent.
There is an element of objectivity.
Just a moment.
There is an element of objectivity that must be achieved.
Just a moment. This is the thing.
Yes.
Political parties, to some extent, help people to be grounded on the issues when they get into power.
Do they follow the policy or they follow the leader? They don't follow the policies or statutes they have.
In fact,
Raila are said, or Mudavadi are said, Wetangula are said, William Ruto are said. We should not follow people.
So if you envision
follow policies and statutes that we have laid
just a
down.
moment, if you envision a government
Yes.
that, for example, now that you put it clear, you want to vie for the presidency
Yes.
in 2027,
Yes.
you envision a government that it's, you form a government without a political party. How do you run that?
Why do I need political parties for? Just be honest. Why do I need it? Be honest. Answer. Why do I need a political party? These are enterprises, people to get money from, even the people that the money that.
How do you run a government without members that rally behind you as a head of state?
An element of political party just brings in an element of
division,
affiliation to a particular government, and that is what we are all against.
Yes.
You rewarding people,
yes,
or by fact and virtue of them having supported you at a particular point in time, and not provision of services. That's why you see people are awarded indeed, but now when it comes to execution and giving service to the citizens of this country, it is zero.
Okay,
and
I think
the political party should be abolished.
No, just a moment.
Let me tell you.
Just a moment. We get back to our conversation here and has to do with the Occupy. We're not discussing political party discourse. But before we get into that, I just want to bring viewers into this particular information about a presser that will be happening today, and that has to do with acting IG of police Douglas Kanja will be holding a press conference at 9:30. That's about 15 minutes from now at his Jogoo House office on security issues, including planned protests today. I repeat that. Acting IG Police Douglas Kanja will be holding a press conference today at 9:30 a.m. That is about 15 minutes from now at his Jogoo House office on security issues, including planned protests today. I will be crossing over there when that particular presser begins, and just to listen in to what he'll be saying as far as protests are concerned here in the country, especially today. All right, and also I want us to take something just in relation to that, and in relation to the violence that we've been able to experience in to the protests we've been able to experience in the country, and how the police have managed that. Let's take that particular poll by Tifa and see what was the response. Of course, 75% of people agreed that police used excessive force when it comes to dealing with protesters, and 72% want the withdrawal of the army from protests management. Of course, the army was deployed to the streets. We have no idea until when, because there wasn't clear timelines on exactly when that will stop. But yeah, so 72% of Kenyans want the army withdrawn from protest management, as 75% say there was excessive use of force that has led to death in the country and, of course, injuries. It has been argued, Vivian, that the people that normally lead to a chaotic environment as far as these protests are concerned are the police officers. Let's start from there.
I agree 100%. I've been in protests, I've been on the streets, and let me tell you, you're walking in a manner that doesn't please a police officer, he tear gasses you. You're not armed, you're not, like, this is, picture me, like on the street, just, you know, walking, not doing anything, but just because they've put you, you know, in a certain box, they're like, no, these people, we need to arrest them, we need to tear gas them. And yet, it's a right entrenched in the Constitution. If they would just, actually, the day that Occupy Parliament happened, the invasion of Parliament, had this whole push is because of retaliation by police. Had they just done their job of escorting protesters peacefully, you know, people would have, you know, sang, chanted, done whatever, finished, gone home.
Who sent
But because of, you know, pushback by police, it becomes a challenge. You're like, okay, so let's do this. So you throw tear gas, we hide, we come back again.
Yeah.
It becomes, yeah,
No,
it becomes,
security personnel.
I was speaking. Why is he cutting me off? Is this how please? Is this how soldiers are taught? Relax.
You'll get an opportunity to respond to that as well.
Chill, man. Breathe. Yeah. So, I'm saying the reason why these things escalate is because instead of police protecting property and the people who, because that's what they're supposed to do during a protest, so that if goons infiltrate, for example, then police would take action and maybe arrest them. But because they're so busy attacking peaceful protesters who are only armed with a bottle of water and, you know, phone.
And a whistle.
And a handkerchief. They don't have time to concentrate on the actual people perpetrating violence, you see? That day when CBD, a lot of businesses were broken into and looted. Why? Because all the police were concentrated towards Parliament area, and the other side of town was left unprotected.
Correct.
So the goons, you know, took advantage, broke into shops, robbed a lot of people. A lot of business people within the CBD lost their property. And not because the protesters are the ones who did this. These were organized criminals, let's just be honest. But had they, I don't know because I didn't organize them, but because...
No, it was by the political class of this country.
Listen,
just be
I don't know, I did not organize them.
So why are you supporting?
I haven't finished my point. I'm trying to make a point across.
Just a moment.
By the political class.
Why are you supporting the
I am purporting they were organized.
Why? Just a moment.
Why?
Excuse me.
You're all speaking.
Excuse me.
Yes, please. Can I finish my point? We'll never finish if you keep interjecting, right?
Go ahead.
So let me finish my point, and then you can all get your chance to speak. Thank you. So first of all, to answer his question, the reason why I'm purporting that the attacks on the businesses were organized, I took the opportunity to talk to several security guards of the shops were looted, burnt. Uganda House was burnt. And what they told me was, we know the protesters. The protesters came by, passed, didn't do anything. But there are goons who came. Some even came carrying fuel, you know, petrol, carrying implements, tools to break, you know, the metal grills. Those were not protesters. It means you came to the CBD with the intention of burning. Because who goes to a protest with fuel in a jerrycan? Unless you're there with the intention of destroying. Destroying. So it means these people, I do not know who organized them, but from my observation and from my interaction with security guards of a lot of the shops that were affected, I came to, you know, deduce that these people were organized. And also from the security camera footage, when you see most of them for the shops that were looted, you see that these people came just to destroy. They would come, very many people, and the security guards, many of them said, most of those protesters, when police were chasing them, would even shield them in our businesses, and they didn't steal, they didn't do anything, they left peacefully. But the goons were different, and they were, you could even tell they were like kind of maybe older, not exactly like Gen Z. So that's how I know that they were organized.
Somebody said Gen Z is a state of mind, because I saw an older person saying I'm also Gen Z, so Gen Z. Now, let me come to you on the, because I feel like you'll take a different direction. This is the thing. On the issue of police officers and the security personnel using excessive force, 75% of people say, okay, it was too much force that was used when it comes to dealing with protesters. How do you get to manage the people that are exercising their democratic right to picket?
Actually, I want to bring balance. Actually, because a security officer cannot come here to speak the things I'm speaking. One, I will speak because I am a former security person. Okay. So nobody here, a police officer will never come to advocate to why things happen the way they do. One, citizens and people need to understand that a police officer follows command. The only difference that we have in this country is that our police officers, there is a lot of fear that has been instilled with them, so they follow something called unlawful commands. An officer in this country has the right to stand firm, to refuse something that is unlawful command. Unlawful command is something that is either in the Constitution or something that is within the service profession. So what we are having today, and that is why I want to talk to our police officers, even the military officers, that today if our citizens are coming to the street, please do not follow unlawful orders. Do what the Constitution provides you to do. So that now we do not have you being scared, like, you know what, if you don't do that, we are going to do this and do that. And let us, our officers in this country, be confident enough. You understand what I mean?
And what will be the unlawful command in this particular scenario?
The provision, the Constitution provides that protesters to take peaceful demonstrations. So a police officer has the right to protect his job is to protect that protester.
So what they've been doing,
is not to kill them, is not to interfere with the affairs of what the citizens are doing.
An unlawful command would be a command that is directed to someone simply by virtue of you being to their beck and call, that I'd call you to perform a specific duty that I have instructed you to do. You see, there is that aspect of you taking commands or instructions from me just for you to go and harm or perform a specific function.
Then again, let me tell you, from what Bonai is saying, I can attest it to you that what we have in this country, from the word go, is policies that people do not follow. We have no policies that people follow. If our police officers and our defense forces people understand the terms or rules and the regulations, statutes of the provision of the Constitution and of the service, trust me, they will do what exactly that. And that's why I'm calling them.
So you're saying what you've been able to experience is actually, you're agreeing...
our soldiers and police officers are being misused in this country.
They are not independent.
They are not independent. And that is why...
They're representing the country. Do they really need to be independent? They
are supposed to be independent body to make a decision at the level at which,
You see, when something harmful happens to you, what do you think first? I want to go to a police officer. So this police officer should give protection. This police officer should give you a sense of, okay, I'm in police custody, so I'm fine. But now, these are the same people that are out there with guns that are not aimed at the goons, aimed at this specific protester that is coming.
No, just a moment. I want to take a break, but explain the independence of National Police Service.
The other day you heard our president declaring that he literally give the mandate, full mandate, you understand, to the police force or whatever force to use, to police service I mean, and also defense force to be independent in the way of how they operate their business. So the independent here lacks because now Kindiki is appointed by the president under whatever merits. He is fearing the context of what command he gives.
Then who gets by his boss. Just a moment, who gets the blame when we have all this brutality meted against the people that take to the streets? Do we blame the police? Do we blame the state?
We are supposed, we actually, the police officer who has been involved in any kind of thing in this country, we should let them go and hold accountable the leaders who are top bosses for these services.
Right.
Because this soldier, somebody is coming to fight you. You have a gun. What are you supposed to do, my friend?
All right, just hold on there.
Yeah.
I want to take a break
Yes.
here on the program. Of course, I'll come back and ask you, as a young person, where you feel you're being attacked so personally. No. Take a break first. All right, to take a break, we need to pay some bills. So it's pay my salary, of course. Such a joke. Take a break.
Next time, I'm supporting.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.